has to be difficult, especially kind of with the type of stuff that you do. I mean, you could only see Hacksaw Jim Duggan at the airport like once every few months, like it just doesn't walk into your lap. And there's got to be times where you feel like people have an expectation to be able to hear from you, and I don't know, you feel like you have to do something, and I don't know, that just seems like it might be difficult at times.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think part of it's just taking breaks, and part of knowing that, like, there's never going to be a time where you tweet something that somebody doesn't misinterpret or not like. I tweeted one time, I think I said something like, if I was a pig, I'd be so upset about how in Renaissance. Like, do you remember 10 years ago we went through the mullet Renaissance where like everything was a mullet joke, and there was like websites devoted to it, and they had like flash intros, and it was like mullets. You never hear about mullets now. They're kind of on the downside. So I said that about bacon, and somebody was like, "Well, I thought only sinners should fear death," and they like turned into this deep theology. And I was like, "Are you talking about Christian pigs, like a heathen pigs?" And so I try to remember that you can't write or create something not to offend or not to bother somebody, because and satire is like that. If you try to explain satire to somebody, you murder it. So there's times when I'll write something knowing some people aren't just going to get this, and I'll do rap references, or I think tomorrow's post mentions Bobby Brown's song,
yep.
Not in That Generation, and that's okay. Like, I'll do a Z Cavaricci reference, or I'll mention Flight of the Conchords, and or that Cinderella runs Disney like Jay-Z runs New York, and I'll say that in a speech, and I'll know that there will be people that come up to me and go, I had like, what did that mean?
Yep.
And so I try to have fun with it, and my wife keeps me sane and nice. I mean, the number of mean tweets she said, I don't think you should tweet that. I mean, I don't know if that's in Proverbs 31, but it should be.
Yeah, no, that's a good woman. Actually, I was going to ask you about that too, because we talk about that on the show quite a bit. Like, it's there's a lot of information that you can get out there, especially for information on how to live your Christian life or practical things or whatever. And like, it seems like the cesspool of the worst of Christianity shows up in the comment section. Hard to stay out of the comment section of your own blog. Like, yours is kind of actually tame. I look for it to see if there's fights brewing every once in a while, and I don't generally run into them. But it seems like you did an article for CNN a little while back, and the article was fantastic, and then the cesspool began inside the comment section. And
those were rough. Those comments were. I try not to get into those. That's an interesting idea in general, like the shift in our culture. Like 50 years ago, musicians, like thousands of people weren't commenting every day about the thing they were doing. Same with authors. I had a friend say, hey, you want to know what Kurt Vonnegut told me? And I thought, that was a dope way to start a sentence. Yes. He said, well, Kurt Vonnegut said, Mark Twain would have killed himself if he had Amazon reviews. Like that's the thing you create and can put 1-star reviews next to the buy button, like right up next to it. That's new. And so I try not to get too caught up in it, especially like CNN article, or like YouTube comments. I never look at YouTube comments.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the first rule of the internet. And I never try to change people's minds if they're, the times somebody called me a name the other day in a Facebook message about something, and ironically enough, they were saying that I had been mean to somebody else, and they felt like calling me the name was the best way to be nice to me, I guess. And so I responded, and not mean, and kind of responded, and they never responded back. So 99% of the time, when I waste my time trying to go, oh, let's have dialogue, they don't want dialogue.
Yeah.
They just wanted to throw a rock. And the other thing is the internet makes people out book or some other, big Christian. People can get really mad because it's easy to hate somebody that you don't really know. They've never met Rob Bell. They've never had a coffee with him. They're not his neighbor. He's just an idea. He's got, his whole name is in bold letters to them, and so they can throw rocks. And so the internet's been weird to change that.
Actually, you know what? I run into that quite a bit, and it's actually a realization I think that I've been through myself here recently is, like, especially when it comes to the differences in denominations and ideas on things and all that kind of jazz, is like everybody has